Welcome to another episode of Cross Border Talks, where we serve our established idea to discuss more about Central Europe and Southeastern Europe, our major regions of interest. And today, my partner Veronica Zushova-Salminen is here with me, and we have as a guest Ovidiu Vaida, who is a lecturer at the Babeș-Bolyai University, the best Romanian university. He is expert on international relations, knowledgeable on Central Europe, and we'll be dealing with a number of issues with the evolutions in Central Europe over the last 1 year after the start of the war in Ukraine. Major changes happen, and even New York Times wrote recently that the center of gravity of the EU is moving to the east. So we'll be trying to find out what does this mean from a Romanian or regional perspective. Welcome to our program. And first of all, let us start with this change. Poland has been affirming itself in the region, establishing closer cooperation with Ukraine. And we are here a little bit to the south, Bulgaria and Romania. So my first question to Ovidiu Vaida would be, how should this Polish assent be perceived? Because maybe there is some possibility that a strong Euro-Atlantic bloc appears in the EU. And it may sound very good, but I am certain that there are different opinions about that everywhere.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. As regarding Poland position and Poland relations with Ukraine, I would say that it's nothing new there. They have historical relations for centuries, and we know that Poland they have a very active foreign policy regarding Baltic area, regarding Ukraine, regarding Central Europe. So, as I said, it's nothing new there. From the very beginning, I want to stress, we have to bear in mind that every discussion we have here is we have to judge everything under all these external circumstances, that is the war in Ukraine, which changed basically everything. As regarding Poland cooperation with Ukraine, as I said, they have historical ties, economic ties. I've just found some figures here. 3.5 million Ukrainians live in Poland at this point. 3.5 million Ukrainian. That would be almost 10% of Ukrainians living in Ukraine. Also, due to the war, a lot of enterprises, businesses had to leave Ukraine, and most of them established or were relocated to Poland. And as from a refugee point of view, Poland hosts the most refugees. More than half of the Ukrainian refugees left to Poland. But curiously, only few came to Romania. The second position would be Czech Republic. I'm not sure I answered all your questions. If you want to add,
I want to add something short because it's very current affairs issue, and maybe you'll be able to provide some perspective. We have just now the information that or the dispute whether some rocket launched from a Russian ship has entered the Romanian airspace or not. And there is this opinion by the official position of the Romanian Internal Ministry of Defense is that it has not entered the NATO territory or airspace, but Ukraine or Russia seem to suggest otherwise. So I wonder, maybe to put it in this way, is Romania fully embracing the Ukrainian position in the war in Ukraine, or is Romania somehow more cautious when dealing with Ukraine and having some issues of its own related maybe to Romanian minority
Yeah.
or whatever?
It's a very good question. I would say that there is no doubt, at least at political level, that Romania is fully supporting Ukraine. Yet there are some. I saw some views that we should not. Um how can I say? We should not speak loudly about that. Uh, and there were Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine thanked Romania for their help. But at some point, President Iohannis was really somehow irritated by these questions, and he said, "Whatever we do, we should not talk too much about that." I read the declaration of the Minister of Defense of Romania. Uh, I do not know what to say. There were rockets falling, Ukrainian rockets falling in Poland, and the very beginning it was the rumor that there were Russian rockets, and later we found out that there were Ukrainian. I have no more data regarding this matter of rockets today.
Yes, probably we must be very careful with this evaluation, especially without data and without within the information war, which is going on all the time, basically. But I would return our discussion back to Poland and to Central Europe because Poland is a member of Visegrad Group, and Visegrad Group is or have been per se very long time as a relatively successful or important regional group of states or regional organization. As everybody knows, it's there for countries. It's not only Poland, it's Czech Republic, it's Slovakia, it's also Hungary. But also here, there are some changes going on. These changes have different level. One level is the war in Ukraine, the ascent of Poland, and the military and security issues in general, which brought, by the way, the divergence between two very important countries of this bloc, which is basically Poland and Hungary. On the other hand, you have the political changes happening in the Czech Republic with the presidential election and with the parliamentary election, predominance of the rightist, Atlantist political forces. And finally, of course, Slovakia is now very volatile politically. There will be the elections. And there are voices, at least in the Czech and also Slovak space, which are saying about the future of therefore doubts that we have to think if really this makes sense in the new conditions to continue with this type of regional cooperation. So what is your take on this discussion, and do you think that the war in Ukraine and the political changes will change the nature of therefore, or will even put it in the oblivion, meaning that it will
For sure it will change the functioning of V4. I won't think that the V4 will disappear or become obsolete, but even though at this point V4, I think it's not that important as it used to be in the 1990s, where it worked as a kindergarten for the integration and accession negotiations. Nowadays, I think the states are not cooperating that much, even though there are regular meetings among ministers, prime ministers, so on. What we should talk about, bring back again the argument of war in Ukraine, because that the situation in Ukraine influenced V4. Namely the fact that after 2014, the invasion of Crimea, V4 states decided, obviously at the Polish initiative, to establish a battle group, Visegrad battle group, which is working starting with I think 2015. So they have different exercises. Around 4,000 soldiers are there. V4 must be brought into discussion, taking into consideration the fact that the four states are member of NATO, of the EU, and there are two other mechanisms organizations working somehow in parallel level. The 3Cs initiative, which is an economic group, and the P9, Bucharest 9 initiative, which has only defensive roles. So I would say that the V4 will continue to exist, but at a limited level. And as you mentioned, we have this divide now between Poland and Hungary regarding relation with Russia. But things here inside the V4 and regarding their cooperation is shaped by the fact there are every year or every 2 years there are elections in the 4 states, and sometimes they change their governing coalitions, and they change also their views. Before we had elections in the parliamentary elections in the Czech Republic, we had a Andrej Babiš government which was close somehow to Hungary in their views and friendship, so to say, with Russia. We had elections, parliamentary elections, new government, they switched to a more pro-EU, pro-NATO. Now, once with the election of Petr Pavel as president, for sure Czech Republic would be a very, very pro-NATO, pro-EU country, opposing Hungary. Slovakia was years ago rather close to Hungary. They had elections and they also changed their minds. So we have some sort of cleavages there. On the one hand is the Czech Republic, Slovakia camp, which is more at this point more close to the EU, and Poland and Hungary, which are somehow somehow far from the European idea. The war changed everything. Poland was reattached to the European Union somehow, and Hungary is still there by themselves. Not to forget, we have elections in Poland this year, and in Slovakia, and also in Bulgaria.
Yes, I will continue this. You, I think, pretty nicely put that there is the fragmentation in the Central European politics, in the foreign affairs, and also within the relation to the European Union and within the relation to Russia. But there is, of course, the war in Ukraine, which is changing a lot of things. As Vladimir already mentioned, recently, in the end of the January, 23rd of January, New York Times published article about our region, and this article was arguing the following, that the Central and Eastern Europe will become a more influential region within the European affairs, within the EU and within the NATO due to the war. The article was also mentioning that the Poland is profiling itself as very important power thanks to its quick and decisive help to Ukraine. And there was also a quotation of Olaf Scholz by the fact that he said that the heart of Europe is moving eastward. What do you say about this opinion? Is this realistic, considering the fragmentation which we have seen, which we are seeing, considering maybe some rivalities which can appear also between the different states of this region? Is it really so that the war in Ukraine is moving the power center of Europe towards the east?
Yes, I partially agree with the article. Yes, importance or focus is on Eastern Europe at this point, but that would be my view. Once the war is over, the Western states, namely Germany, France, will regain their influence at European. Problem is we have to judge from two sides. We discuss about the European Union when we talk about Europe, and we may discuss about NATO. What I was telling you was my view about the European Union. Even after the war in Ukraine, I think France, Germany, Spain will still and the founding 6 countries will be still more influential than the eastern part, even due to, I don't know, some economic reasons. We can have a very good example here. The Netherlands is opposing entering admission of Romania and Bulgaria into Schengen, and they are successful in blocking all this trend. If we speak about NATO, situation is different, and yes, we may witness in the future a switch in importance regarding Eastern Europe. More and more troops are brought to this area, troops which are staying in the area, not just rotated. More weaponry. I mentioned the B9 initiative, which is very important and able to put discussion points on the NATO agenda. And last but not least, I have some figures here. Eastern states spend more and more money on defense. With a prediction for Poland, I think for 2025 to spend 3.5% of their GDP for defense, which is a lot. It's the same trend in Romania, in the Baltic states. Yes, so from a defense point of view, there is a clear shift, and I think Eastern Europe will become a major actor in this area. As I said, as regarding EU affairs, the real influence will stay in the let's say Western states. After the war is over, hopefully in just a few months, we shall have negotiations, difficult negotiations with Ukraine, negotiations with Republic of Moldova, and I would say that Eastern states will oppose somehow, not the accession of Ukraine, of course, but they will demand more rigorous negotiations, attention to EU funds and stuff like that.
We have a specific model in some countries right now who are trying to be some kind of a bridge between the West and, let's call it, East or Russia. And Hungary seems to be one of these countries which have a more different position than most of the Euro-Atlanticist countries and do a lot of interaction with Russia. I want to ask what is going on in the Romanian-Hungarian relationship, both between the states and within the Romanian society, where we know that there is a Hungarian minority. There are, of course, these traditional opinions that there is some kind of contestation between Romania and Hungary for historical reasons. But I am aware also of other opinions and other observations with Hungarians being taking important positions in the Romanian state, or with Romania and Hungary having strategic partnership, which is not the case with other countries. So could you explain us more about what is going on in the Romanian-Hungarian relationship in the recent times?
Do you have 3 hours for discussions? Okay,
well, to be short.
It's a very good question and really difficult to answer. I would say from the very beginning that between Romania and Hungary, there is a love and hate relation, to call it shortly. From the very beginning, for me, it's very curious, the Hungarian friendship with Russia. They had difficult relations in the past. And let's not forget the year 1956, when the Russians crushed the Hungarian Revolution. They basically occupied the country, and they arrested their leader, communist leader, Nagy Imre, which was later took to Romania and executed, I think, in Russia. So they had that was the national drama, the 1956. and I cannot really understand from historical reasons why Hungary is so close for the moment. Probably they have strategical goals. The fact that they are somehow outcasted, so to say, from the EU level, they are I don't know, criticized and things like that. They try to find a strong ally, strong friend, that would be Russia. Also, fuel, gas, and oil come into discussion here, but I think their friendship is more based on interest than on, I don't know, true feelings. Regarding the Hungarian and Romanian relations, we have, how can I say, it's a very, very carefully built relation. Yes, starting in the 1990s, we signed a treaty in 1997, a strategic partnership in 2002, which has 20 years, 21 year old. But Hungary is a very important partner for Romanian economy. Romania is important partner for Hungarian economy. I have some figures here. Hungary is the fourth country in terms of export for Romania, and Hungary is the third country in terms of import. That would be the economical elements. From a political diplomatical point of view, we still have a lot of, I don't know, not, I don't want to use the word cold relations, but not very, very friendly. For instance, President of Hungary, Katalin Novak, visited Romania the other year, 2022, and it was the first visit presidential level in 12 years. One was in 2010, the previous one was in 1997. So we are really close, have a lot of relations, and the presidents visit the other countries in more than 10 years. I think it's worth to mention the fact that Klaus Iohannis never visited Budapest, at least not in an official role. The last presidential visit, official visit, took place in 2009 when Traian Băsescu visited Budapest. He was invited by the then Hungarian president. That means in 14 years we did not have an official visit there. Even nowadays we have this problem here regarding the use of Székelyland flag on official buildings. It was a statement of the president of Foreign Affairs Committee in the Hungarian Parliament, named Zsolt. At that point, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bogdan Aurescu, invited Hungarian ambassador for explanations. That happened a few days ago. I don't want to move the discussion outside the academia, but I think just a week ago we had a scandal. It's a football game. A team from Székelyland in Covasna County, and there were some fans of the other team from Craiova, and they shouted something like Hungarians leave Romania, things like that, and they stopped the game. The referee stopped the game in the 20th minute, and we had a huge debate, not only in the sport journals, what are we supposed to do. I think also it's important to mention the fact that Hungary has a lot of investments unofficially in Romania. Not Hungarian companies, but the Hungarian government using NGOs. They sponsor, they help media, journals, football teams, and things like that. Also, from time to time, every summer, there is a Hungarian summer university in Transylvania, and this is the point or the place where Orban Viktor is launching his new ideas. The famous illiberal democracy, as he called Hungary, was the term was first mentioned at this Balványos university. In August, they had the same university, and he had this quite racist speech. So what I want to say by that is that all these actions somehow produce irritation in the both in the Romanian political class and in the public opinion. But you mentioned that at least at political level, we have some sort of friendly relations. Hungarian party, Udemere, is often invited to join governmental coalition. They are in government right now, but even in that area, sometimes they block certain governmental policies, and there are some rumors that they do so by being advised from Budapest. I'm not sure this is true, but the discussion is there, and I would end here if you do not have any other elements in this discussion, that Klaus Iohannis never visited Budapest, and 2 years ago, I think, he tried to attack Social Democratic Party and Hungarian Party, saluting them with the Hungarian words. This way, somehow, he tried to connect Social Democrats to Hungarian Party and blaming both for something wrong, which was not clear what was wrong, but he just put the blame on them.
I thank you for mentioning Klaus Iohannis, the Romanian president, because it's a good switch to my last question, and we are making a review of the relationships in our region, especially from Romanian point of view. So Klaus Iohannis said yesterday at some extraordinary summit of the EU leaders in Brussels that he is planning to visit Sofia within short time, maybe a few weeks time, and the main issue on his agenda in Sofia would be Bulgaria and Romania's attempted entrance into Schengen area and the veto of Austria and Netherlands against this effort. So I've been following the Romanian reactions after the vote in December at the Committee on Internal Affairs and Justice with regards to the two countries' entrance in the Schengen area. And the first reaction, at least I had this impression, is that Romanians originally felt that Bulgaria is somehow putting Romania in a disadvantaged position by being coupled with Romania. So the initial position was some kind of decoupling from Bulgaria, and over time we saw a certain evolution, even a rapid one. And recently I've been listening to a number of Romanian foreign policy analysts, and if I'm not mistaken, even the foreign minister, suggesting cooperation with Bulgaria over the Schengen issue. So here is now my question. What do you think could be the substance of such cooperation? What could Bulgaria and Romania do together? I need to say that there have been also these ideas about mini-Schengen area between Bulgaria and Romania, and there is a question put by a Romanian member of European Parliament to the European Commission, expecting certain position from the Commission about the legal basis, if I understand correctly, of such a mini-Schengen area. But maybe there are different ideas which are discussed. So what do you hear and what do you know about that?
Well, it is the first time I hear about this mini-Schengen. I cannot see how that would work and what would be the outcome. We shall have border control against countries already in Schengen. I think it's just some sort of pressuring the Commission or the European Parliament. Yes, I read about this issue about the decoupling. I won't see it happens or it will happen. Um, we have to admit, I think, fairly that Romania is in a better situation than Bulgaria in terms of internal reforms and stuff like that, and also in border areas due to the fact that we do not have a border with Turkey. Bulgaria has one, and they have some problems there. Also, my feeling is that Romanian diplomacy is rather working in a secret way. They are not very clear in expressing their views, but of what I saw, there is no mentioning of decoupling or working separately in this effort of joining Schengen area. I read some news that Bulgaria is once again under MTV surveillance, but I only could find here and there some piece of news, not, I don't know, press analysis in important media. I'm not sure it is true. We have that Bulgaria is once again under MTV. So we have to wait what happens. Right now we have a European Council. Obviously, the Schengen problem is not on the agenda. There will be one official Council of the EU, of meeting of Minister of Internal Affairs in March. Probably that will bring more answer to your question. Also, we discussed about elections in Poland and Slovakia. Let's not forget you will have elections in Bulgaria, as far as I know, in April. That may change the game. There might be a situation to bring a more, I don't know, a government which will not be so friendly with the EU idea, or maybe by the opposite, the pro-Europeans will win, and that would smooth the discussions for entering the Schengen area. I read a few press statements of Bulgarian officials, and they offered or mentioned the month October for joining the Schengen area. What can Romania do in this situation? I think Romania may pressure somehow Bulgaria, like, I don't know, older brother talking to the younger brother, do your homework, let's join together this area.
If you allow me an extra question, isn't the Schengen solution somehow related to some international agreement on the geopolitical position of Bulgaria and Romania? I mean, that if that is true, it's not really so much the work of the two countries internally, maybe, rather certain form of agreement between international powers, whether they remain some kind of a middle ground between West and East, or whether they really join.
I don't know. I have to admit that I have no idea about all these agreements. But once again, let's go back to your question or the article in New York Times. We can see that even we have this war in Ukraine. Power in the European Union stays in the Western countries. But once again, I do not know about all these agreements regarding Romania or Bulgaria.
Okay, Mr. Vaida, thank you for coming to Cross Border Talks, and we are happy that we managed to make some kind of reflection on changing political situation in our whole region, and it's a very hopefully even more dynamic region than before, and hopefully
Yes.
to find its place, deserved and more important place in the European Union and in the world.